What's up, everybody? On today's episode of What's the Scrimmage, we are talking about the NBA regular season recap, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the unexpected surprises this season brought, and my prediction on the play in tournament, and many, many more on this episode of What's the Scrimmage. Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of What's the Scrimmage. I'm your host, Big Ron Harvey. Get ready to give you my thoughts, my reaction to what this regular season was that went down here in the 82 games of the NBA regular season that is officially in the books. It is now the time that I am recording. It is April 13th, almost 7 o'clock my time in Minnesota, Midwest time. So that means all of the NBA regular season games are over. They are done. Everybody's pretty much locked into their seating. Everybody from 3 to 6 in this conference knows who they're facing going to the playoffs, except for 1 and 2 are pretty much going to be waiting in on the play-in tournament and seeing who makes it out of the play-in tournament between 7, 8, 9th, and 10th seedings that's going forward. So man, yeah, this is something a wild, one of the wildest NBA regular season I've probably ever witnessed as a fan in a ever probably ever. I probably say ever. This regular season has been crazy with twists, turns, shocking surprises, and things that as a fan, I wasn't expecting to see ever happening, and it's just like going through a fever dream, dealing with the regular season and what's going on and everything. But before we go further, we'll talk about the playoffs. In the playing tournament, I want to do a recap on the regular season that the NBA had recently, which ended today. 82 games from all teams have been played, and now we get ready to get set and get ready to go into the play-in tournament that's going to start this Tuesday coming up. So I want to start with the major appreciation and the major surprises and well appreciated things that happened in the NBA season this year that I want to go over. First, I want to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers snagging the number one seed in the playoffs and getting home court advantage all the way through the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, if they make it to the finals and they meet OKC, then OKC pretty much have home court advantage throughout the playoffs, including the NBA Finals as well. But OKC pretty much did the same thing last year, grabbing the number one seed. Had a disappointing season last year, getting knocked out in the second round by Luka and the Dallas Mavericks. Man, it's just something we already saw this with OKC, so I'm expecting them to make it further to the Western Conference. To be honest with you, I want to see them make it further to the finals this year. With the experience that they have as of right now, with everything they've done last year, and plus they had an incredible regular season. They got their MVP in Shea Gildress. He's definitely the MVP this season. I definitely also want to see how they respond now that they have the experience of capturing the number one seed, have an amazing regular season with 60 plus games. So now it's pretty much go time in the playoffs. But I want to look at Cleveland because this is the first time since Cleveland had LeBron James that they have the number one seed in the Eastern Conference without the name of LeBron James in the Cavaliers jersey. Um, just an incredible team put together this offseason, having a great roster out here with guys like Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Ty Jerome, who's been Massive for them, knocking down 3-point shots for them at timely shots. Matt Strus, and Dean Wade, who I'm a fan of. But one thing I want to express as well with the Cavs. Now, people talk about what the Lakers did in getting Luka Doncic, which, as a Laker fan, I understand that getting Luka Doncic was a huge thing that the Lakers could have done in the mid-season, and also what the Golden State Warriors did in getting Jimmy Butler from the Miami Heat. But there's another trade that I believe that was a very, very good and sneaky trade that a lot of people didn't talk about that the Cavaliers did. And that's the Cleveland Cavaliers getting DeAndre Hunter from Atlanta. I have to say that was the most sneakiest, great move by the Cleveland Cavaliers. I cannot express how great that trade was for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They gave up Karis LeVert, who I'm a huge fan of his. I've been following his game since he was in Brooklyn, and I love Karis LeVert. I think he's amazing. But DeAndre Hunter fits them so well. He's a big body. He's young, 27 years old. He's 6'8". He's a defensive nightmare. He could defend on the perimeter, and on top of that, he can knock down the three with ease. So he fits perfectly with this roster, with him coming off the bench, with guys. I mean, this Cleveland team is pretty loaded, man. They're pretty loaded. This team looks like they were put together to take on the Boston Celtics when if everything goes awry, that both teams will meet each other in the Eastern Conference Finals, with Cleveland having home court advantage against the defending reigning champions, the Boston Celtics. Yeah. So this Cleveland team, man, is just amazing across the board, defensively, offensively. Um, Evan Mobley has came into his own this year. Hopefully, when the time comes, he steps up in the big moments, because I think everything rides on his shoulders with Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is a fantastic player, and I firmly believe if he is out having a monster game out there with this team with a Donovan Mitchell, this Cavaliers team can be something to deal with. And I won't be surprised if the Cavaliers make it all the way to the finals this year. They have the tools, they have the talent, and they have the abilities to do so. So I definitely want to see how far this Cleveland Cavaliers team go. Now they've had some setbacks years before. Um, I believe one the year before, prior to a year, they lost in the first round. I think it was to the Knicks in the first round one particular year. But this year they have to make it to the East. To me, both Cleveland and OKC, their playoff tenure this year are both, the floor is conference finals for both Cleveland and OKC. The floor is conference finals. If they don't make it to the conference finals, it's an abject failure in my book. They have to make it to the conference finals. Both Oklahoma City and Cleveland, they have to make it to the conference finals, and that's the floor. Ceiling, championship for both teams. Floor, conference finals. Ceiling, championship for both Cleveland and Oklahoma City. So I have high praise and high regards for both Oklahoma City and for Cleveland. Cleveland had an incredible year. This is their first year that they won 60 plus games without LeBron James on their squad, and they pretty much going to be a very very tough team out, going towards the rest of this playoffs run. So definitely very excited for the city of Cleveland in a major great run, and let's see how far this team can go. Hopefully, it can go as far as the finals and for Cleveland, moving forward. All right. Second thing I want to talk about that was appreciation, major appreciation this season. Got to go to the Detroit Pistons. They have been playing tremendously well. from last year having one of the worst. I mean, they've had bad season, but a really bad season last year. They end up firing Monty Williams and hiring JB Bickerstaff for that as the head coaching squad, and they have been playing amazing, inspiring basketball for a while. It's like they took that grit, that Detroit grit, grind, hard nosed, tough teams of the past, whether it's the Bad Boys Pistons or whether it's Chauncey Billups and Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace and Tayshaun Prince, Larry Brown led Detroit Piston teams that pretty much ended the Shaq and Kobe era, if we wanted to be honest. But that's the Detroit teams that are beloved and are revered in that city. And to see this team getting the opportunity to be that team, Kate Cunningham coming to his own, finally getting the opportunity to play at a high level in Detroit is something I'm super happy that he's getting the opportunity. Because like Caden Cunningham said, the team was not their record of last year, and they're showing and proving it now with this year. And it looks like they're going to be playing the New York Knicks in the playoffs as well. I'm going to leave my prediction on that front, but I won't be surprised if the Pistons knock out the Knicks this year. I don't want to go too further into the prediction, and I want to save that after the play-in tournament, and I give my predictions on this year's playoffs round by round. But I really believe Detroit has something very special they can do this season with their play, their grit, their ability to play defense. Their Malik Beasley is having one of the best 3-point shootings he's been having um, in Detroit. Wish he would had those great shooting moments when he was a Laker, but that's neither here nor there for that. But Detroit has been playing extremely well this season, man, and they've been rewarded to getting the opportunity to play in the playoffs, playing against the Knicks. It should be a very good series between those two teams. Definitely want to give my prediction on that pretty soon, but definitely am very happy and very proud of the Detroit Pistons on how they've been this season. Can't take nothing away from that team. That team has been amazing this season with Detroit. So shout out to Detroit basketball. Those Pistons, those damn Pistons, they doing the damn thing out there, man. So third, final thing I want to bring major appreciation to about this season as well is JJ Redick being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, as a Laker fan, as you all know, I am a Laker fan. We got the Lakers got bombarded, got blasted when the Lakers fired Darvin Ham. And the one thing I want to say also about the whole Darvin Ham thing, where people were criticizing LeBron, criticizing the Lakers for firing Darvin Ham. The one thing that I found so ridiculous about the whole ordeal was like I believe none of them watched the Lakers play when Darvin Ham was the head coach. I really don't believe that. I really don't believe that anybody that had any type of criticism of the Lakers firing Darvin Ham as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers didn't watch the Lakers play at all. I just think they just saw the headline, saw it was the Lakers, saw that Darvin Ham was the one that got fired after the Lakers played underwhelming basketball and got put out in the first round by the Denver Nuggets. They immediately say, "Oh, it's their fault. It's the front office. It's all their fault. Their fault." Then, where we were looking out for candidates, Dan Hurley was being considered for the job as the head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. He decided to stay, go back to UConn, remain as the head coach, wanted to see if he can three-peat, which the team didn't even get out the first round. And there it is. And so he went back to UConn. But at that time, people clowned the Lakers, saying Dan Hurley didn't even want the Laker job. He'd rather stay in college. Why? Wow, the Lakers, the most prestige franchise. The Lakers can't even get Dan Hurley. Then, all of a sudden, here comes JJ Redick. Now, did I have my trepidations about JJ Redick being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers? I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with you right now. I didn't. And the only reason why I didn't have a problem with JJ Redick being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers was because I listened to his podcast. I listened to the Mind the Game with LeBron James. I listened to the other podcast, which is the Three Old Men or the Three Old Men podcast that he has. And I hear when he talks about the game of basketball, when he talks about ball, and I was like, wow, this guy's is a basketball junkie. He knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. He knows how to break the game down. He knows how to watch the game and break the game down like if he was a head coach. And it makes sense that the Lakers gave him this opportunity. Now, when you have somebody like a Stephen A. Smith who criticized JJ Redick with that, JJ was getting interviewed for the job, and he criticized how it was LeBron James's fault that JJ Redick is getting his opportunity, and he pretty much stabbed Darvin Ham in the back because Darvin Ham is your head coach, and you doing a whole podcast with a guy like JJ Redick who's aspiring to be a head coach and all this other stuff. Listen, man, here's my thoughts on that alone. If Darvin Ham was winning, he wouldn't have worried about losing his job as a head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. He'd be still the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers if he was winning. If he was winning games and putting the team in great positions to win games, he would have not have lost his job as a head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. Period. End of story. I don't see how people like a Stephen A. Smith don't get it. When Darvin Ham wasn't doing his job, putting out wacky lineups, starting guys like Prince and Reddish over Reeves and D'Lo and Hachimura, it was like, what are we doing? What are we doing out here? And then when he will start the guys that got him to the Western Conference Finals the previous year, they will win. They will win handily. And then it was like, okay, I guess he got it. This is the starting lineup. Let's do it for the next game. Then the very next game, he placed in Prince. He placed in Reddish, and the Lakers end up losing. And everybody is frustrated. They're asking him like, "What are you doing? What are you doing with this team? What are you doing with your lineups?" It has always been a problem when it comes to Darvin Ham and his lineups when it came to the Lakers. Seriously, it was something where as Laker Nation, including myself, were super frustrated and watching this. It was like, man, if you don't start the team to to get us these wins, it's like, okay, whatever. But here's the one of the things that I knew that it was over for Darvin Ham as head coach, and it wasn't because I knew when it was his time was up was when the Lakers were playing the Denver Nuggets, and LeBron James got called for the loose where the ball got knocked out of bounds, and they said it was off of LeBron. And LeBron was like, "No, that's not off of me. Y'all need to challenge that, And he's there he's in front of the bench. The Lakers are in front of their own bench, and he's saying you need to challenge it, and he's screaming, "Challenge it, challenge it, challenge it!" And the play goes on, LeBron is just, you can see the excruciating frustration on LeBron's face and he's like, "Cut!" He is screaming. I believe he dropped the F-bomb on that one, and then all of a sudden, Denver knocks down the three. And if you look at the replay, the ball didn't go out on LeBron. It was supposed to go it was Lakers ball, but Darvin Ham took their time. LeBron is screaming, "Challenge it, challenge it!" He didn't do it. They knocked down the three. Denver goes on and win that game. It was very frustrating as a Laker fan to watching that last year in the playoffs. So, and then when you had Darvin Ham getting fired, you had somebody like a Mike Malone who we will be talking about later on in the show, saying how it was unfair for Darvin Ham to get fired. Yeah, of course it's unfair. Of course it's unfair. Yes, of course you're going to be against that because he's the guy you'll be able to pick on and take out the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course you're going to stand up for that one. That's crazy. Of course I'm not gonna like you guys getting rid of my golden goose for keep making me successful. And Darvin Ham, come on. So Darvin Ham's gone. JJ Redick takes over. Everybody says, "Oh, he's a podcaster." They just really going into it. You have people saying he'll be fired before the mid-season. He's not going to survive as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And the one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is that JJ Redick has a great basketball mind. Great enough where a guy like LeBron James, who has an incredible basketball mind, is actually doing a podcast with a guy talking about the game of basketball. The one thing about LeBron James that a lot of people don't understand, especially watching him, LeBron has to respect your basketball mind to even talk the basketball or even to listen to you. Like, you've seen him play with guys, you see him play with guys like a Rajon Rondo, who he respects his basketball mind, or he respects his teammates in now Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, where he trusts them with the ball down the stretch. He trusted them to run the offense. He trusts them. LeBron has to trust you with his mind. You think LeBron James would have had a problem with JJ Redick as the head coach? He's running a podcast talking about the game of basketball with JJ Redick. I knew this wasn't going to be a problem because JJ Redick and LeBron are pretty much on the same page when it comes to the talking about basketball. And now they get to implement it on the floor as coach and player moving forward, and then getting one of the youngest players, one of the young phenom superstar in Luka Doncic to implement into your team. Of course, you're going to want that. But this is another thing that I also want to give JJ Redick a lot of credit to. He went through a lot of variation of the roster leading up to what it is. People keep forgetting this is not the same roster that JJ started out with at the beginning of this regular season, of the 2024-2025 regular season. You got to remember, he had players like D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Davis, Vando, who was out, Cam Reddish. You got to remember, a lot of guys, Christian Wood, which he was out majority of the time. Like, that roster was totally different to where it is now, where the Lakers are now the third seed in the Western Conference in the playoffs. First time having playoff home court advantage since 2020. Now, people will say, well, 2020, they were the number one seed, but they played in the bubble. So I wouldn't call that home court advantage per se. So this will be a true home court advantage for the LeBron James tenure he's had with the Los Angeles Lakers. And also, I believe this is the first home court advantage as well for Luka Doncic as well. So JJ Redick coming into this season, rookie head coach, getting plastered because he got the job. And then people were every time he would lose, every time the Lakers would lose, people will put up the record of the same time frame of Darvin Ham and JJ Redick. But as soon as JJ Redick started winning, they pretty much didn't start counting those up anymore. I mean, they kind of just wither away with the whole keeping count of Darvin Ham and JJ Redick's record wise between each other during their regular season run. And JJ getting the Lakers a 50-win season, great move. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better season for a rookie head coach to get the third seed in the West, home court advantage for possible for the first round home court advantage, possibly second round, depending on how it shakes out between Houston and between Houston game in the second seed with the seventh seed game. We'll see how that goes. But the Lakers possibly have home court advantage for the first and second round, depending on how everything shake out in the other series with the Rockets and who they will meet in the seventh seed in their first round. So I gotta give JJ a lot of credit, man. JJ has been doing amazing work. He's kept his head down. He's coaching this team, putting the schemes and schematics together to put this team and to put this team in the right position, and to have them playing incredible defense. And also, it doesn't hurt to have a generational talents in LeBron James and Luka Doncic on your team, and a budding young star in Austin Reeves playing alongside those two. Amazing season for JJ. Tip my hats off to him. Hopefully the Lakers have a meaningful deep run this playoffs, and move forward from there. So those are my major appreciation this season. Now let's get to the major disappointments that went down in this NBA season, and two teams that sticks sorely out about having the most disappointing season this year is none other than the Philadelphia 76ers and the Phoenix Suns. Now, Philadelphia got something to fall back on because of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. So it kind of softens the blow, and they kind of be like, it is what it is. We'll see what they do next year. But with Philly, man, I wanted to start with Philly first. With the 76ers, man, it was like a huge thing. Paul George teaming up with Joel Embiid, and before everything, Joel Embiid is pretty much making hints that he wants Paul George to sign with the Philadelphia 76ers when he was doing the interview on the stage, and he pretty much indicated how he wanted Paul George to sign with Philly. And then Paul George signs with Philly. We get the Summer Olympics, and then you got Joel Embiid playing one of the major parts of the United States winning the gold medal. Cool. We going into the regular season. So if you're a Philly fan going into this regular season, you get Paul George, you got Tyrese Maxey, you got Joel Embiid, and you got Nick Nurse, who I believe is one of the best coaches out there right now. And it's like, wow, we got this squad. We can really make some noise and do something special with Philly. But then all of a sudden, you had Joel Embiid coming out saying, "I'm not playing back to backs. I think I'm not healthy with my knee," and it's like the floodgates of criticism goes his way. Why did you play for the Summer Olympics? If you knew that you wasn't going to play well, or you was going to do things was not right with your knee? What's going on with you? Why are you doing this, Joel? So it's just like, wow, one thing after another. Paul George is now on IR, and then one of their rookie sensation, he was playing well, and then he got hurt. He was out for the year. I mean, Philly just got one bad break after another, after another, after another. When it came to just the injuries was just piled up, which it was just ridiculous. It was like one point in time they were like second to the last or third to the last in the Eastern Conference. It was so disappointing to watch that team be in the record that it's been doing. And now Joel Embiid just had two more surgeries on his knee. Two more surgeries on his knee. And now they're trying to see if this will work. And it's like, what do you do if you're Philly? You got this. You signed Paul George to this monstrosity of a contract. Joel Embiid, you don't know if this knee surgery is going to work or not, and then you still got your young player Tyrese Maxey, but this Philadelphia team, man, and it's just huge, man. It's just very, I know if you're a 76ers fan, if you are just a 76ers fan, you're very disappointed on how this season ended. One thing you could look forward to is you get a high pick in the draft and see where you could go, in this particular draft this year. Philadelphia 76ers do have to look forward to is they do get another high pick in the draft, which I believe they're mocked to pick fifth in the draft. The draft is pretty loaded, even though this is a Cooper Flag, this is a major Cooper Flag draft. But we'll see what Philly does, who they pick. With their high pick in the draft and everything, but very disappointing of what they had to deal with the injuries, and just everything is just bad, and it's more with injuries than anything that has really derailed this Philadelphia 76ers team to where they had one of the worst seasons, and the reason why it's one of their worst seasons because of a whole lot of anticipation with this team with everybody expecting this team to make a deep playoff run where they're not going to be able to do that. They're pretty much going to be a lottery team and see what they could do and see what they could salvage. With the guys like Paul George and Joel Embiid that's pretty much been on the mend for so long. So we'll see how this goes moving forward, and hopefully Philly can make a bounce back next year, but we'll see. Second team that has equal footing, but is not dealing with injuries, more of just fit and everything. You got to go with the Phoenix Suns. KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. I mean, I remember when they got KD. I believe this was like the Super Bowl. This was like the week of the Super Bowl before the trade deadline, and almost everybody was screaming. Well, some people, not all, was screaming how this team could get to the finals. Like this is a champion. They just won the championship, and I just sat back and was like, "You got to be kidding me! Y'all falling for this again?" The first time it was KD, Booker, and CP3, which I thought it could work because CP3 is a facilitator. He puts guys in their right position, to make the team work. But the one thing, of course, that's always been following CP3's career is his injuries. So they end up trading CP the very next season that got KD, and they went and got Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards. And Bradley Beal, who's a great scorer, he can knock down shots and everything, but I don't know where this thought of putting three guys that has the same skill set, all are not facilitators. They're not facilitators. Booker is not a facilitator. I don't care how many times you try to put him in a point guard position. That's not his game. His game is a flat out scorer. That's what he does. KD is a flat out scorer. That's what he does. Beal is a flat out scorer. That's what he does. So when you get those three together, and not only you fire Frank Vogel, which I think he got a raw deal. Once again, even as a Laker fan, I say Frank Vogel shouldn't have been fired as the head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. He should still be there. Even though I'm appreciative of JJ, but I still go on that hill and fight on that hill about Frank Vogel not being fired because he got a raw deal with the Lakers. Same deal he did with Phoenix. It brought in a defensive minded coach to put together a team to play defensively and everything, but it just did not work. Very next season, they fire him. They bring in another championship coach and Mike Budenholzer, and of course, it was just oh my goodness, it was just god awful to watch the Phoenix Suns play, and it was just like just watching this team was just playing god awful. And then towards the trade deadline, they're trying to make moves. They try to move Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal has that no trade clause. So that means if he doesn't want to go somewhere, he could veto it immediately. If he doesn't want to leave, he's not going nowhere. And whoever his agent did an incredible job, because I guarantee you, if Bradley Beal would have been gone from the Phoenix Suns before the trade deadline, if he didn't have that no trade clause. And the thing, it was also reporting that the Phoenix Suns were trying to make it very uncomfortable for Bradley Beal to pretty much force him to want to get traded out of Phoenix, and they would oblige to it. But Bradley Beal was like, "I'm not falling for that. My family is here. I love it here. I don't want to. I don't want to leave. I'm not. I'm good. You need to find somewhere else to go. I'm not going nowhere." So it's kind of strange to go into an organization, to go into a locker room where people are looking at you like you're the problem. Like you're the problem. You're the reason why we can't get better. And it's just crazy. And Bradley Beal's like, man, it's whatever. You still got to pay me, regardless. You can send me on the bench. Okay, cool. I'll be on the bench. I'll come off the bench. I'll be the sixth man. Or I'm the seventh man. Cool. I'll do that too. Oh, you gonna start me again? Okay, I'll do that too. Unfazed. He knows he has this power of that no trade clause, that he wasn't going anywhere. So, and then Phoenix tried to move off of Kevin Durant, trying to get Jimmy Butler to team him up with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. They tried to do it on the sneak tip. It got out. KD didn't like it, and now it looks like KD is going to be going somewhere else in the off season. They already said his four destinations of him going somewhere after Phoenix will probably be Minnesota, Houston. I believe it was Dallas, and I can't think of the other team. I think OKC. I think those are like the four teams that was out there, if I'm not mistaken. But as I said before, man, this was just a huge, huge, huge um letdown for Phoenix, man. They had championship aspirations and everything, and this Phoenix team had just been just god awful, man. Just I can't even say it just is what it is. They were just this was bad. This was bad. This was absolutely bad for Phoenix, man. And now they're going to move on for Kevin Durant and move him to somewhere. Now here's the thing: if you're going to move on from Kevin Durant, if you're if you're one of the teams that's going to bring Kevin Durant in, yes, he's an amazing player. Yes, he is a sniper. Yes, he is a bucket getter. 30 point can average 30 something, 30 29 points a night. He's still automatic when he's on the floor. But you also want to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up? How much you're willing to give up? Because once you give up a lot, having it's been proven, once you give up a lot and you have Kevin Durant, you're not pretty much going to go anywhere. And there's no disrespect to Kevin. It's a team sport. He needs other guys to complement his style. That's why Golden State was amazing for him, because he had two guys that were sharpshooters, a defensive mind player in Draymond Green, another defensive mind wing player in Andre Iguodala, and then he could play the center and also be the answer to everything to any other team, because he's 7 foot sniper. KD was able to do that, and since he left Golden State, Brooklyn, Phoenix, and now the next team is going to be his third team moving on, and we're going to see how this works out for KD, man. And I hope he finds his team moving forward, and what team can work out for him. I want to talk about that on another episode about where he should go, and what teams could benefit from him if they don't give up a lot for KD. I mean, because I'm telling you, if he could still contribute to a championship team, he could still be your best player on a championship team. You just need the right parts around KD for him to succeed, and that's pretty much what needs to be done for that whole thing with Phoenix, for KD moving forward with his career. But man, yeah, Phoenix. We'll see what they do and see what they could get back from KD, because they gave up a lot to Brooklyn to get KD. So I wonder what they're going to be able to get back for a talent like KD, moving forward with their organization. Next thing I want to talk about, the head coaching firings that went down, and we had two of them that were weeks before the dang playoffs, which was crazy. So you had the head coaching firings of Mike Brown from the Sacramento Kings, which was, to me, was like, that was shocking and out of nowhere, because they had a successful run in the playoffs, even though they had the whole, like, the Beam, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, Malik Monk. You had some great guys and players. They were playing extremely well on that team. But it seems like recently, it was like the team was just fell off out of nowhere, and it was like, wow, what's going on with the Kings? What happened? Is everybody okay? And is everybody doing? Is it going well? And then all of a sudden, Mike Brown gets fired. He gets the axe, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on? And they were saying how he was tough on the team, and how the team didn't respond to him no more, and everything. And I was like, wow. I was like, this is crazy. He was, Mike Brown just recently won, not too long ago, won the 2023 Coach of the Year and everything. And they was having a successful season with Sacramento, and then they fired him. Doug Christie takes over his head coaching job, and then also they make another huge change in Sacramento by sending De'Aaron Fox to San Antonio to team up with Victor Wembanyama, and then they go out and they bring in Zach Levine from Chicago, team him up with DeRozan once again. So it was just a crazy, crazy change with Sacramento, both head coach, personnel, and players. So don't know what Sacramento was doing, but they're right now in the play-in tournament as we speak. Going to be playing the Dallas Mavericks because they're ninth and Dallas is 10th. So yeah, that was crazy how that went down with Sacramento firing their head coach in Mike Brown, and then just just everything is just, I mean, just when you thought Sacramento looked like they got their stuff together, here comes something crazy out the blue with them. So Mike Brown gets fired from the Sacramento Kings, and then we get the Memphis Grizzlies firing Taylor Jenkins, which was, to me, I don't understand this firing because Taylor Jenkins has been a great coach for Memphis. When John Morant, who let's be honest, hasn't been on the floor a lot due to injuries and off the court issues, he's been having his team playing extremely well, and he's been having his team playing a competitive basketball, winning games, and everything of that nature. Which I was like, this was what you want out of your head coach when your star player is not on the floor. Your coach is able to push the right buttons to get your team up, ready to play, and to be playing extremely well, be competitive, and he's done that. So with Taylor Jenkins now being fired was like a major mind-boggling thing, and it wasn't just that they just fired him. Like they fired him with weeks going into the playoffs, which was crazy. I was like, "Are you crazy? This is like malpractice, like how this whole thing has gone down." And now they're going to I mean, it's just crazy how Memphis has been dealing with so much stuff, and now Memphis is in the play-in tournament. They're in the playing tournament right now, number 8, and they're going to face the Golden State Warriors, who recently today just lost to the Clippers, knocking them out of the 6th seed back to 7 into the playing tournament where they be facing Memphis moving forward. But man, Memphis, man, with Taylor Jenkins, that was like wow, right before the playoffs, you fire your head coach. That's crazy, and it was just weeks. It's not just like months or out, or it's like in the middle of the season. No, this is weeks before the playoffs. You have to get stuff together, and they pull that off. And when I thought that was crazy, here comes Denver firing not only Mike Malone, but they also fired their GM and Calvin Booth as well. So they fired both their head coach and Mike Malone and their GM Calvin Booth all in one fell swoop. Just weeks after a few weeks of Memphis letting go of Taylor Jenkins, weeks later, Denver fires Mike Malone and gets rid of their GM and Calvin Booth. And the thing is so crazy about this one is Mike Malone is the most successful and winning coach in the franchise history. Has um and he won their championship in 2023, and he's had tremendous success with his tenure. And it's just crazy because he criticized the Sacramento Kings for firing Mike Brown. He said, "I've been through that. I know what that organization is." Or like he's pretty much like criticized the Sacramento Kings, not knowing that a few months later he'd be the one on the streets with Mike Brown, which was something that I did not expect for Mike Malone. And here's now, as a Laker fan, I think he's an arrogant dude that can be sometimes could be too much of an arrogant I'm just gonna say he's an arrogant ass from time to time. He's an arrogant ass that times he kind of rubs me the wrong way. But I have to say he's been playing this team extremely well, playing getting winning out of them and everything. But one thing that has been going on throughout his tenure with Denver is them losing key pieces year after year, championship pieces. They lost KCP the one year to when he went to Orlando. They lost, Bruce Brown the year after the year they won the championship. The following all season after they won the championship, they lost out Bruce Brown. The very next season, they lost KCP. Then they lost Jeff Green in the midst. So it's like, and then Malone wasn't playing their young guys, and they just it was like a conflict between him and Booth, between Malone and Booth, and it was just like the president was like, you know what, clean house, we gotta do better. And now you got this team in the balance where you have one of the most generational big men in NBA history, in Nikola Jokic. Now is in a limbo. It's like, what do you do now if you're Denver? Because you have this generational talent in Nikola Jokic. What is your next step? Even though they are in the playoffs right now, I believe they're the fourth seed in the playoffs right now. They're gonna be playing the Clippers. So yeah, man, this is just, oh man, it's just something it's just crazy to see how this team is just set up. It's going forward with that with this with Denver, man, to have a successful team where people still looked at this team as a championship contending team, even losing the pieces that they did. People still saw, hey, they got Nikola Jokic, they got Jamal Murray, Mike Malone. This team could still go, and now it's so confusing what's going on with this team moving forward with this move that they did, both Memphis and for Denver, to be able to not only move on from your head coaches, but to do it just weeks, not months, weeks before the playoffs. Is saying a lot, man, and it's saying a lot how how these organizations want to be run and everything. I know, and it is just crazy how everything. And now you got it now where you have several NBA teams who have won the championships this past seasons, from Toronto, the Lakers, Milwaukee, and now Denver, have all fired their head coach who have won them championships. That's with Toronto and Nick Nurse, the Lakers with Frank Vogel, which I still say Frank Vogel should have never been fired, and with Mike Budenholzer with Milwaukee. And Mike Budenholzer was really got hosed because he lost his brother in a car accident. I can imagine trying to wrap my head around that while trying to put a team while trying to get a team to a championship that particular year. It's just ridiculous. And now Mike Malone joins that list of head coaches that have won their teams a championship and has been fired right after that, relieved of duty. Um, I mean, there's a lot of contributes to those things, from the roster change, um, teams, just the performance of the team. It just and then Mike Malone's situation is his disagreement with Calvin Booth that really cost his job and everything. And so yeah, that was it's major disappointing, with everything we've seen this going on this season with those teams. But I also want to go back to major props that I saw this regular season as well. That goes to the Clippers, mainly towards Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard has been playing extremely well. He looks healthy. He looks spry. Norman Powell has been playing incredibly well all this season. James Harden playing at an all-star level this year as well. And then Kawhi coming back, being healthy once again and whole in the second. And now they're in the playoffs once again. Looks like a team to be messed with in the regular, look like a team that could be messed with. And we all know with a Kawhi Leonard, a healthy Kawhi Leonard is a scary Kawhi Leonard because he's amazing defensively, offensively, and everything. This is the something that if you are a Clippers fan, you are excited. A lot of people criticize the Clippers for just letting Paul George walk for nothing, but I guess I believe it was Norman Powell that said less is more, and they're proving it. Norman Powell got more minutes. Kawhi got healthy. James Harden seems coming back to his All NBA form. Zubac has been playing incredibly well as the a center for that team as well. Yeah, man, the Clippers have playing extremely well this year, man, and Norman Powell and Kawhi Harden, Zubac has been the spear in the head with this team, and this team looks like it's something to be reckoned with in the playoffs. So, just want to give a shout out to the Clippers team. I don't want to seem too biased because they're the in town rivals with the Lakers, but I give credit where credit is due. The Clippers have been playing extremely well, and now they get ready to face the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs as the fifth seed. So yeah, so that was my recap of the NBA regular season. It was. Now I know you're wondering why you're not talking about the Lakers and Luka Doncic. I've already talked about that. That was on my last episode. Check it out. My feelings, my thoughts, how I found out, and everything is all there. And plus, one thing also I want to say about what the Lakers with how Austin Reeves has just became has solidified himself as a very good. It's like he's not a superstar. He's not an all-star. He's maybe up and coming star where these playoffs can really much put him in that position moving forward. But he's playing extremely well. I want to give Austin Reeves some props too. He's been playing extremely well. He's gotten a lot better with his playmaking, his jump shoot, his 3-point shooting, and everything. Where now he's finding his footing and playing between two generational talents and Luka and LeBron, and for him to have his own coming into his own moving forward. Super proud of Austin Reeves, man. He's been incredible. Well, he's been incredible even before Luka, when it was LeBron and AD. When AD was out or when LeBron was out, and he was the one having to take over, he was doing amazing work. He was averaging 20 and assists and 3-point shooting and everything. Like Austin Reeves was doing amazing work when LeBron and Luka or AD were out. So he was doing amazing work this whole season. Austin was incredible. Hopefully this continues and gets better in the playoffs with him and the Lakers. So definitely want to shout out something with Austin Reeves, and he's been doing incredibly well with the Lakers. And the Lakers got the number 3 seed, and they'll be facing the Timberwolves in the playoffs coming up. And I will give my prediction on that pretty soon. So, with that being said, we all know that the Lakers will be facing the Timberwolves 3-6. We know that the Clippers will be facing the Denver Nuggets on for 4th and 5th seed moving forward as well. So, but as we all know, the 1 seed and 2 seed don't know who they're going to face because we have the play-in tournament. Now, I know a lot of people probably doesn't like the play-in tournament. I've come to join. I've come to love it now more than anything. Well, as a Laker fan, we've been dealing with the play-in tournament for since 2020 now. Because when the bubble came around, they did the whole play-in tournament. That was like the first iteration of the play-in tournament that we had to deal with because we didn't know who we were going to face. Whether it was going to be, I think it was either Memphis or I think it was either Memphis or the I know it was the Trailblazers that won it, and we didn't know it was going to be the Trailblazers until like later on. It was kind of like being in a dark in a way. But the play-in tournament has grown on me, and now that my Lakers are no longer are not in the play-in tournament this year, and they actually know who they're going to face this year, I could, as a Laker fan, I could sit back and enjoy it. So as we can see, we have the play-in tournament. We're going to go with the Western Conference first, and with the play-in tournament, where we're going to have the ninth seed taking on the 10th seed. That is, the ninth seed is the Sacramento Kings, going up against the Dallas Mavericks at 10. Now, in that particular game, I have the Sacramento Kings winning that game, and with Zach LaVine and DeRozan, and with Dallas, with the with with everything they have done, just reshuffling their entire future in Dallas. It's like, do you really want to make it to the eighth seed, or do you really want to do it? But it seems like they're going to be going forward this time. But I really believe I have the Kings winning that game between between them and Dallas, and I really believe that the Kings will win that game, and it will take out Dallas. Sabonis always seems to have Anthony Davis' number when they play each other, so it seems like every time Sabonis has AD's number when he's playing. So we'll see how this goes with AD with Dallas and Sacramento, but I have the Kings coming out with the victor in that battle. And now we're going to the seventh seed, which is the Golden State Warriors, who lost to today to the Clippers to be knocked out of the sixth seed, which they would have had to face the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round, but they lost that very tight, very entertaining game that went to overtime. Clippers pull out the win on the road against the Golden State Warriors, knocking the Warriors out of sixth place to take the seventh seed, and the Warriors will be facing the Memphis Grizzlies in the seventh and eighth in the battle for the seventh seed and for the playoff spot. I got the Golden State Warriors winning this game against the Memphis Grizzlies. One thing for sure, with Memphis, one thing, just like I said with Dallas, Memphis changed their whole makeup, but not in a player personnel, more of firing their head coach in the short span that they did leading up to the playoffs. So I don't know how this Memphis team was going to be going up against Steph and the Golden State Warriors, who hopefully Jimmy Butler is not hurt, because not is not too hurt, and he could play on Tuesday. He could turn around and play on Tuesday, because it looks like Kawhi rammed his knee into Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler looked like he was limping pretty much down the stretch in overtime. So hopefully he's not too hurt where he can get on the floor on Tuesday and battle Memphis. But I really believe I have Golden State Warriors winning this game, staying at 7, taking on Houston in the first round, and I do see Golden State Warriors staying. I do see Golden State Warriors staying at 7 and facing Houston in the first round of the playoffs, and that should be a very entertaining game. With that one, with Golden State and Houston moving forward, and then we have the loser of the 7th, 8th seed playing against the winner of the 9th, 8th seed. That will be the Sacramento Kings taking on the Memphis Grizzlies, and I have the Sacramento Kings winning that, and knocking Memphis out of the playoffs, and Kings taking over the 8th seed, and they will be facing the dynamic Oklahoma City Thunder. I really believe that game is going to be another battle between the two teams, but I really believe I have the Sacramento Kings getting that 8th seed and going into battle and taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder, moving forward in the playoffs. So now that we got the Western Conference, let's go to the Eastern side of things. Go to the Eastern Conference. We're going to pretty much on the Eastern Conference. We have the number 7 seed in the Orlando Magic taking on the Atlanta Hawks. I have Orlando winning that game. Orlando is just on another. Orlando to me is on another level over the Atlanta. Their team is amazing. They've been rocking. They've been putting together. Even though they dealt with a lot of injuries this year, but they are a very good team, well put together and everything. I really like this Orlando Magic team. I really believe this Magic team could be do something pretty special in the playoffs and getting that seventh seed, and it'd be a great matchup between them and and the Boston Celtics, which I believe Orlando can hold their own against Boston. I'm really excited about this Orlando team and what they have and what they got as a team as a young core. And it's just I'm just really excited to see what they do. They're a really good put together team. So I'm really want to see how Orlando goes moving forward and see how everything goes with this team moving forward, man, with Orlando. So yeah. So I got Orlando over Atlanta. Then we get to the ninth and 10th seeds. We got the ninth seed in the Chicago Bulls versus the 10th seed in the Miami Heat. The battle of the former Jimmy Butler teams, as I like to say. But on this one, I got Chicago beating Miami. I got Chicago winning. Chicago has been on a tear. Chicago has been playing very inspiring basketball. As a Laker fan, I know exactly how those two wins of especially the Josh Giddey half court prayer shot that was made in Chicago was just off. To this day, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's just crazy. But I got Chicago beating Miami. I don't think Miami right now. I don't think Miami can has the juice right now to make the run like they've done in the past, and most of that juice was because of the guy they just traded away, and Jimmy Butler was a part of it, was a main part of those particular runs, especially the runs they made to the finals out of the play-in tournament. So I don't think Miami is going to have that spark that they did before in the past because it was they had it before in the past, and I believe that Chicago is going to come out the victor in this matchup, and go from there. So from the winner of that match of Chicago to the losers of the match with between Orlando and Atlanta, I have Chicago winning that game. Chicago knocking out Atlanta and taking the eighth and final seed and making it a competitive battle between Chicago and Cleveland. I think this will be a very good first round between the two young teams. But I have Chicago winning that game with Atlanta, getting themselves in the playoffs as the AC taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers in this year's playoffs. So those are my predictions of the play-in tournament between the Conference of the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference play-in tournament. Um, Thank you so much for listening to my to the show. That's pretty much what I have for right now. I will be back by next, hopefully by Friday or Saturday. I will we review the recap of the playing tournament, how things will go. Then I will give my prediction on the playoffs coming up as well, and I want to give my thoughts on that as well. So thank you so much for checking out What's the Scrimmage. I'm your host, Big Ron Harvey, and you take care. And thank you so much. Wherever you listen to your podcast, I am there, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, and now I'm on YouTube Music as well. So please check me out, like, share, subscribe, and I want to continue to grow this community more and more as we go. But I thank you so much. Until next time, take care. Be safe.